Here. Or
The important people are here.
Thank you, Bill. I was about to say that. Fortunately, the most important people have showed up for our San Carlos computer meeting. As always, I'm Scott Stimson, and this is Bill and Cheryl. Hey, and Chester, just right on time. Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judy.
Good morning.
Everybody's just popping in right at the last minute, right on time.
Just like a whack-a-mole game.
How's everybody doing this morning? We've already hit the stream button, so we're already live on the internet. And as always, we like to start out with some topics or questions or troubleshooting that we could do for anyone that's out there. Is there any follow-up from last week or news or insights anybody wants to share? I see Judy's hand up.
So I had a weird thing the other day, and it could be user error. On my iPad, I had it plugged in, and it only charged to 70%. And it's got the little green box with the lightning bolt. So everything there looked good. So I tried it again, and still it wasn't going above 70. So I ended up, I didn't hard reboot it. I just turned it off and back on. And now it seems to be just fine.
I've had that happen where just the iPad says not charging.
Right.
Charging. And then the solution was exactly the same. Turn it off, turn it on.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I don't know. It just sort of...
I did make an appointment with the Genius Bar because it's still under the 2-year Apple Care warranty, which actually expires next week. So now I'm trying to decide if I want to go ahead and do, I don't have the 2-year option anymore, just in case you're interested. You can only do a monthly at $5.99 for my iPad. Well, iPad Pro.
I'm imagining you can buy that in a year blocks, like for that price.
You cannot.
You have to pay for it as a monthly subscription.
Yes, because I called Apple yesterday and asked them. I told them I wanted to do the 2 or 1 year again, like I had before, and they said, we're sorry. Your iPad is going to be 3 years old, and no, you have to do a monthly subscription.
Wow.
Of $5.99.
Now, if they wanted to be really insidious, that was something that it did to your battery just to make you a little nervous about your equipment. It's all in software. It has absolutely nothing to do with hardware.
So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? So now I'm debating if I want to do $5.99. I actually priced a new one, and they'll give me almost $400 for my old one. So,
Judy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've booked at the Genius Bar when we've been in the States, mainly when we're purchasing. But as I understood it, you could make an appointment at the Genius Bar without Apple Care.
Yes, you can, but it's not free.
It's not free?
Not if you're out of warranty.
Oh, well, I mean, they'll help you for free, but they won't fix anything for
right.
Like if it's something software based that they know about, they'll fix that for you. Right. But if it's a battery that needs to be replaced or a screen, they'd be happy to replace it. You're just going to pay for it.
The guy was pretty funny. He said, yeah, it's, if you don't have Apple Care and you break your screen, it's $400 or so.
Right.
So, yeah.
So they're giving you $400 for your old device to buy a $800 device. Is that right?
Actually, it was $12 because I decided I wanted $256 rather than $128. So.
Okay.
Pro is 2 years old now, or 3 years.
It's going to be 3 years because it runs the warranty. The 2-year warranty runs out next week.
Will they take it at the end of 3 years, or will they take it now at that price?
Well, that I don't know. I bet it'll be less after my anniversary date.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're basically looking at your investment in an Apple iPad is costing you about $200 a year, just a little under $200 a year,
Mm-hmm.
if you're on this path that they've set for you. Like if
Right.
something else happens in 2.5 years with the new one that makes you question whether it's going to have any value in the future, have a problem in the future, do I buy
Right.
Apple Care for it, or do I buy a new device?
Right.
It sounds like it's averaging out to about $200 a year to have an iPad.
And
That's
do I
before
want to put
services.
$200 into my old one, or do I want to get Apple Care for 2 years at 120 something?
So they're going to, well, it's still under warranty now.
Right. Till next week.
So what would it be that you'd be getting for $200? Is that the
Service if it breaks.
if it breaks? Well, even so that's service on top of the part, whatever it is that broke, right?
No, it's everything.
Oh,
is what they say.
$200 is everything.
It's $5.99 and it covers everything, even the brick that you plug in the wall. The guy told me.
But say that again, because I thought I understood that to buy service was going to be a monthly thing.
It is $5.99 a month.
Okay, then what's the $200?
I don't know. That's the figure you got, $200.
Oh, okay. So all right. No, what I'm thinking is that your purchase price of hardware and your purchase price of service contract, if you were, what they've got you on is you pay $200 a year to be an iPad owner before you pay for internet or any cloud services. That's before Netflix. That's before.
Well, where are you getting the $200 a year?
Well, the device that you bought is worth $400 right now.
Right.
You've had 2.5 years of use out of it. Now
Right.
you're having a problem prompting you to buy another one. They'll give you $400 for it.
Right.
Right? And that would go towards the $1,200 device.
Right.
Which means you're going to pay $800.
Approximately, but that includes Apple Care as well.
That includes Apple Care. So maybe it's $250.
Somewhere I had it all written down, but anyway, I've got an iPad 11, third edition or third generation, and I bought it in 2021.
I feel like I need to bring out a spreadsheet.
I know, it's awful. I have a little piece of paper.
Oh,
But I was thinking that if you bought Apple Care every time that you felt like you needed to upgrade your device, then you wouldn't be doing a monthly plan or a service repair.
Right.
You would be replacing your device every 2.5 years.
Exactly.
And I guess now that I think about the pricing, it is now maybe it's $200 to $400 a year you're paying.
So if I buy a new iPad Pro 11-inch with 256 gigabytes.
You
Okay.
want the Pro.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I have now. That's what I want. So anyway, with my trade, it's $704 plus $129 for Apple Care for 2 years, makes it $833.
Hey, Judy, this is all very interesting, but one of the topics I just dropped on our document
Yes.
is that Apple has sent out invites for a new release that they're doing the 12th of September. And if you can hold off your decision making until that happens, you might be looking at a whole different pricing structure.
I might be, I will
But you'll be out of
because
warranty.
I'll be out of warranty. Well, I can buy them. I'll have a monthly plan. Let's just say that I decide I'm going to do the monthly plan.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to be out of a plan when I have a 3-year-old device, right? So if I wait, then my trade-in is going to be less as well.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting question to ask them, what you would expect if you waited until the end of your service plan to turn it in, what kind of price? I bet they couldn't
bet
give you
they
even an idea. They
Mhm.
they probably are prohibited from giving you an idea of what it would be worth because they have no idea.
Well, I was going to just walk in with my device to the Apple store. I had an appointment at the Genius Bar, and I was just going to tell them, it's really weird. It's not charging, blah, 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 blah. And then, even though that problem is now fixed because I turned it off and on, see what they had to say. But I decided I wasn't going to drive 20 miles just to ask the Genius Bar a question.
Yeah.
20 miles each way.
I'm really curious. You said that you did a hard reset. Is that where you just shut it down? You swiped it and shut it down, or you held the buttons until it crashed?
I did not do a hard reset. I just shut it down.
Just shut it down.
A hard reset, you have to push the volume up, volume down, and then push the other one or something.
Yeah, but in this one, you just swiped shut down.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making a quick note.
It was interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Cheryl.
Every so often I get a thing on my iPad and my iPhone that says when it's plugged in, battery efficiency, something or other, and it will be fully charged by 6 a.m. Like, is that like a slow charge or something? And should I be using it?
I don't. I turned it off because if I have my phone plugged in, I want it to be charged. I don't want to conserve. I want my device to be charged.
What does that do to battery life?
I don't care. I mean, really, I really don't.
Here, I don't.
All right. Well, Cheryl, what it is it's trying to pick the best time to charge your battery when you're not using the phone, so that it prolongs the health of the battery.
Maybe.
That's the whole philosophy behind it. Is that it looks at your activity, it sees that you've plugged it in, and then it determines whether this is the right time to charge or not. And I've noticed where I've had it plugged in, I leave it running. It doesn't give me any messages except for when it's chosen to charge. But I feel like I leave it running, I plug it in, and if I'm working on the phone, it doesn't charge the battery. If I've got it plugged in and I'm wanting to use the phone, I don't feel it might maintain the charge, but I never feel like it's charging the battery. And then if I let it sit for a period of time, then it grabs an opportunity and it'll charge 10, 15, 20%. But if I reach out for it and I start working on it again, I'll watch it for an hour. I'll play solitary for an hour, and it won't charge the phone. So I think that describes kind of what to expect from that kind of setting. And Judy may have the answer.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
If I have my
it's tripped
phone,
me up at times.
I want it to charge.
Yeah.
My phone, I don't care about their algorithm, whatever they're doing to tell it when it should charge. When I have it on the charger, I want it charged.
Yeah. I find it interesting. I think it is the future of the way we're going to deal with batteries. I think it'll make a lot more sense when it's like you plug it in and 10 minutes later you're fully charged.
Exactly.
Because then you just plug it in and you go to the bathroom and you come back and your phone's charged. And the one thing about charging batteries fast is that they get hot. And so they're trying to regulate that temperature. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to limit your use of the phone while it's charging. So you're not asking the phone to use a lot of electricity at the same time they're trying to put a lot of electricity in the battery. Heat will destroy the lifespan of the battery. And so you want to charge cool, but that's hard to do fast. So that's what that's all about, is trying to regulate that activity. And when you plug it in at night, what it'll do is it'll pick a time to start charging based on when it's supposed to be ready for you. So it knows your habits. This is the announcement you get: is phone will be charged by 5:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
that kind of message. And what it is it started charging, and it's telling you that it's doing its charging. It's even slowing down how fast it charges so that it can be ready for you at that time.
But the
And
problem with that scenario, Scott, is what happens if it's the middle of the night and I need my phone fully charged? I'm evacuated and I need my phone fully charged. That whole thing where they're regulating how my phone charges doesn't work for me.
I have no dog in this fight. I think that there's a very valid point that would determine whether you use settings like this or not.
And I do not, because I
Yeah.
have been evacuated in the middle of the night and I do want my phone to be fully charged.
What I can say about my experience using it is that, like I said, if I plug it in and use the phone, I notice no charging happening. But if I walk away for 5 minutes, I come back, I've got 5% charge on the phone. So if I set it, and so it's really looking for idle times to do the charging.
I think that with a couple of things that you guys have said, it's recommended for battery life. The heat issue, we've had some phones, some iPads that get really, really hot when they're charging, and that can't be good for anything. And so I think that there are times when I would turn it off, and other times when I would leave it, let it do its thing. Judy said, like if it's high risk time and things like that, and I want this charged now, and I want it fully charged because I don't have another battery source,
Don't you think it's always high risk time? Isn't that why you have a cell phone? To have it for emergency use as well as daily use? That's why I have one.
Yeah, it's all about what features you're being able to take advantage of, whether you think it has value or not, what you've bought it for. Devices, you can use them for all different reasons. You could buy the device specifically for an emergency device. Of course, you'd want it topped off all the time. And I do these magnetic chargers that kind of trickle charge to begin with, and I keep them all over the house, next to the bed, next to where I sit on the couch, just so I can very quickly plug it in. And I feel like Judy, to the point at which I'm like, well, let's see how well this works for me when I feel like Judy. And you're right, Judy. There are times when I've woken up in the middle of the night and I've been like, oh, great, I only got 50% on my phone. And did I live in a world where that was disastrous? That would have been a big problem if I was a firefighter, or if I was having to run out, a healthcare worker or something like that. But I'm just a computer nerd, and I'm just like, damn, now I got to keep it plugged in this morning. With playing with it, I feel like I've really explored the limits of this kind of feature. And so what I'm telling you is what I've experienced, and you have to be the judge of if that's the way you want to use your device or not. The reason it exists is to prolong battery life, the lifespan of the battery.
Yeah.
By babying it, by treating it nicely, so that when those times when you can't treat it nicely, like you need to plug it in and have an 80% charge in 20 minutes, that's hard on a battery to shove that much electricity into it real quick, especially if you're trying to use it at the same time, because that's a lot of heat happening. But if you know what's going on and you plug it in and you leave it alone for that 20 minutes and you let it do its thing and it goes up to 80%, you unplug it, well, then when's the next time you're going to have to charge it? Mm-hmm. Oh, the other thing to throw into the decision making about charging batteries is that we know from experience that these poly-ion or these lithium-ion batteries tend to have a longer life if they don't go below 60%. So if you can keep it topped off, or between 80 and 100% the majority of its life, the amount of damage done to the battery will be the least. I'm not going to say there isn't the damage to the battery. the inherent nature of the inherent nature of these batteries is by using them, they get damaged. But they have a very stable life of about 3 years, and you can prolong that simply by making sure they don't drop below 60%. Any other comments on battery charging on an iDevice? Well, since we're talking about batteries, I don't know, did you guys take a look at this YouTube video? This is really interesting. I stuck it in here under topics and troubleshooting. It's an example of lithium batteries being recycled. And it's actually a business that receives
So I have some questions.
all batteries, like phone batteries, tool batteries, up to electric vehicle batteries. Are you going to come in? Come on, there we go. And they've built this process that grinds up the batteries, which seems really seems like you would be concerned about making a fire, but it happens so quickly it dissipates all the charging. So it renders all the material inert in that moment. So you don't have to worry about some dissipating charge. And their system separates the plastic from the metal, from the lithium, and there's like 3 or 4 different elements that are rare earth elements that end up in this thing that's like a sludge. I'm trying to fast forward through some of this because I can see you can get the gist off of. And I know you can't hear the audio because I'm not set up to share the audio, not easily. But let's see if we can get into where you can see this stuff happening. There's the waste they're collecting behind him. Uh-oh.
A filter press. The metal-rich liquid is pumped into the large blue press. And
So
that
the metal
proprietary
turns into a
is
liquid, it goes into
hydraulically
this thing
squeezed
called a
out,
filter
leaving behind
press.
something
I've never
called
heard of
black
before.
mass on each of the individual filters.
And it's literally
the black mass is what's falling
shuck
down
out
the
of
chute
the...
as each of the filters are shaken, and is what contains all of our coveted elements.
So that's all the
black mass
rare
has been
earth
valuable
elements
enough
is
to
a
be called the
sludge
new
coming off of
gold.
these
It
filters
really is the
and being
most valuable
collected.
part of this entire process.
So
and what
they're actually
Li-Cycle is
mining that
after.
sludge
It's a vital
for
ingredient in making new
reusable
batteries.
materials.
One of the coolest parts about this system is while they are using a ton of water inside, it is a closed-loop system, and none of that
He's
water
saying
ever
this
leaves.
is a
It's not
closed-loop
used
system.
up in any of
The
the
system
reactions.
uses a
There's
ton
also
of
no
water,
air pollutants
but
in
none
a
of it
traditional
comes
sense,
in
since
or
nothing's being
goes out.
burned.
It all
After
stays
the batteries
within
have been
the system.
shredded, sorted, filtered,
And what you
and
end
pressed,
up with
we're
is
left
these
with these
3
three
bags of
commodities
stuff.
here.
You've got
We have the middle
plastics
bag, which is full of plastics that came from floating off the top of the
It's
liquid.
floating off the top
Then
of the water.
over here, we have the aluminum and copper shred,
This is
which
aluminum
sink down
and
to the
metal,
bottom.
aluminum and
lastly,
copper, and then
we
this is the
have our
sludge.
coveted black mass. And
They
this
call
is
it
where
black
we
mass.
find the cobalt, the lithium, and the nickel. It
So
feels
they
a lot like
literally are
black mud.
grinding up old
The elemental
batteries
metals can be
and
infinitely
then
recycled,
mining
and
the refuge.
95% of the batteries that go through this system are collected in one of these 3 bags. Lithium batteries are extremely recyclable, and Li-Cycle's doing it
So
right
you
here
just
in
said
Arizona.
something like only
It's like a bunch of
5%
forbidden
of the batteries
The
do
batteries are
not
collected
end up
here in the
in one of
United
these
States,
3 bags.
recycled here in the
95%
United
of the
States, and
batteries
probably
end up
made
in
into
one of these
brand new
3
batteries
bags.
using this
And 2 of
right
them
here in the
are
United
reusable
States.
material.
Super
I don't know about
fun
the plastic.
seeing
I don't
this
know what they do with
process.
the plastic.
I do have to fly
But you can
home, though, so
imagine
I'm
a
not
bag
taking this
full
with
of
me.
steel
Right
and
here in Arizona
aluminum
is
and
an
copper. They
above-ground
can figure
lithium
out how to
mine that's
smelt that
processing
down into
batteries
something.
instead of earth. It generates 70% less emissions recycling and reusing the battery
So
than
it's
it
a
would
very
be if we were
promising
mining it straight from
technique
the
for,
earth the first time
and this
around.
is I'm sorry, Chester. Hold on a second. I'm the only one hearing what they're saying, which means I'm not hearing you. What would you say?
I say there's probably some processing going on somewhere else where they take that sludge and using different surfactants, they float out different minerals and recover the minerals and then refine them.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is that sludge is what they're mining now. So
Yeah,
instead
and then
instead of
somebody
going
else
into,
converts that to metal.
say that again, Chester, I'm sorry.
Someone else converts that to metal,
That's right.
to the different minerals.
Yeah, the rare earth minerals that are needed for a battery, they're able to take it out of that sludge. So you're right, they're shipping it off to somebody that's mining those bags of sludge instead of going out into nature and mining them.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying that's how it's being used. So they're able to capture the majority of these lithium batteries just through this process of grinding and separating. Pretty cool stuff. I've left that link here in the document. If you guys don't have the document, I stuck a link in our chat. It's just sitting here on the side of our meeting.
By the way, there is a use for the plastic.
Oh, what is that, Chester?
The plastic is usable. It's used in a lot of different processes, and so it has value.
It feels like where we need to go is like he was saying about the water being a closed loop system, like a fountain, right? Where you essentially don't have water leaving or coming in. You just have what you use, the resource that you have in the system. It feels like what we need to head towards is plans that are all closed loop systems. Whatever it might be, whatever it is that we're doing, whatever we're generating should stay within a closed loop.
Well, there's a certain amount of liquid that goes out with the sludge that goes to the next manufacturing process. So he adds a little water as he goes in order to replenish what is going out in the product.
There's probably truth in that, Chester. He's probably telling the best case picture of it. But that's, as you put it like that, it does seem like you'd lose a little moisture at least. Well, I don't know if you guys brought other topics. I've got two others. Like I mentioned earlier, I stuck Apple's event is happening on the 12th, which is not next week's Computer Club meeting, but the week after that. I did some quick research this morning, and that's going to be a Computer Club meeting, and it's going to happen right at Computer Club. So I was thinking of streaming it on my own while we're doing Computer Club, having it in the background, maybe on mute until the iPhone 15 comes up, because that's what we're expecting. We're expecting the iPhone 15 with the USB-C charging port. They've been working on iOS 17, so we're expecting at least some talk about that, if not an official release. You know that it's not uncommon for them to release an official release of an operating system at the exact same time they're releasing a new phone, like justifying the new operating system with new hardware. As a PSA, unless you're buying the new hardware, you don't want to get into the new operating system right off the bat. The new operating system has been focused on this new hardware, and it will come back to older hardware. But you can bet everybody's going to be a guinea pig when this first releases. The people that buy the iPhone 15, as well as any first adopters. And it's up to you whether you want to be a first adopter, but there's many of us that have this phone as our main communications device. If you don't want it to act differently, you don't want to update to 17 quickly. I always recommend, you've heard me for years, I always recommend waiting at least 2-point releases. So you'll be interested in iOS 17 at 17.2 if your device supports it in the first place. some of us, I may be one of them, will just jump into the new operating system. I typically don't jump in on the first one, but maybe the second one. And so you'll be hearing reports from people like myself and others on the internet complaining about things that don't work the way they used to work or work differently, or having a miserable experience where they forgot to back up their device and they lost everything on it, and getting it back was a pain, and they've lost a week of information, whatever it might be. You'll hear all these stories. So look forward to that. I look forward to next week's Computer Club meeting. Right now, I'm not seeing anything that would stop me from doing it. The next week's Computer Club meeting falls on the 5th. I leave here on the 7th. And then the following will be the Apple event on the 12th, where I'll be in Arizona working in the office. And so I may need somebody else to act more like a host. Cheryl. But I will say again.
What date is that?
That would be the 12th
of September. Let me think.
And if not, that's fine. If there isn't somebody that wants to take that responsibility, I'll still start up the meeting, and just everybody be on the lookout that if you haven't been let into the meeting, it's because I haven't gotten back to my computer to let you into the meeting.
Okay, September 12th, I'm good. I was thinking that's the 19th. So September 12th, we're home, and
well, that would be awesome, because that way I don't have to focus on leading the meeting while I'm trying to work at the same time.
So you're going back to work in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm going to do a week there in the office.
Where our friend Omar no longer works.
I know. I was surprised. Well, I was somewhat surprised. He had told me that they were hoping to go and spend time with Kathy's family when I saw him last. So I knew it was a possibility. He made it clear it was a possibility.
Yeah.
And they look happy. They look like they're having a lot of fun. So, and since that's the Apple event, I'll be paying attention to that as well as our meeting. I'm just really curious what they've done with the iPhone 15. One of the things that nobody's talked about that I'm really anticipating is this whole satellite communication that they've done with SOS. They've got to just be real close to making that a two-way available thing. I'm imagining that what's stopping them is contracts, their own satellite system. I just see that as the future. Apple could be your phone provider. If Apple owned a satellite network like Elon Musk owns, then instead of AT&T, Sprint, or GCI, you could have Apple as your service provider. And I can't help but imagine that's the direction they're going with all this. I also think that if you were to say it out loud like that, they would be stopped every opportunity. So what we'll see is baby steps in that direction until it finally makes sense. I don't know. I think of it the same way I think of like Microsoft when they got in trouble in the 80s and 90s, because they had a real reputation of stealing other people's work and buying the competition, and just overwhelming the competition, just out marketing, outstepping the competition until those other products disappeared. And they got in trouble for bundling during that time period, putting internet browser in with the operating system, putting file checkers in with the operating system. They got in trouble for because they were using their monopolistic position to influence which softwares were being used. And so they had to pull out the antivirus, the file checking software to the web browser. They had to disassociate all that from their product and allow third parties to compete in that area. And the third parties did a much better job for a long time until it became obvious that those things need to be part of an operating system.
Didn't Apple sue them?
Yeah, well, a lot of people sued them. Well, and they got in legal trouble with our Justice Department, and got in trouble in Europe as well. And it was all monopoly that practices that they got in trouble for. But technically, what we discovered years later is that these are things that should be in a good operating system. We were upset with the way Microsoft was going about it, but the concept of having them all together into the operating system nowadays is considered the only thing that makes sense. And when you run Linux, Apple, Windows, Android, iOS, you expect to have a browser to get internet information from. You expect to be connected. So having it bundled as part of the operating system only makes more sense. Disassociating it makes less sense. And things like file checkers that can self-heal your operating system makes sense to be part of the operating system, especially when we're dealing with security issues. You have tighter security when the same company that has built the file system is checking it for errors. It's and that goes on. And so these components that we didn't expect would be considered fundamental parts are actually fundamental parts. And I think that Apple's dealing with that right now. If they were to just say, we're going to put together a phone system using a satellite array like Elon's, they might even lease Elon's. I think they would get blocked and regulated and stopped at every turn, because there's businesses out there that are already communications companies, and there has to be a way for them to survive alongside Apple's stuff. I didn't mean this to turn into an opinion piece, but this is where I'm going, is when I watch Apple release these new devices, I'm looking for this little sprinkling, this spice, these baby steps going towards them being a telecom, without them coming out and saying, we're going to be your next telecom. And that's the end of that. So we'll be paying attention to it. That's what that is in a nutshell. The only other thing I brought with me this morning, I brought last week, and I don't know if we actually covered it. I couldn't remember us talking about it. But it's a little old news now. But Google has taken those Google Photo features that you find in your Google Photo app on your Android device. They've taken and put it into the web-based version of Photos. So I'm not sure how much of Google Photos you're using to do on-the-fly editing and changes, but there is a suite of features in your iOS version and your Android version. Oh, hey, Anya. You're catching me in the middle of my computer club meeting. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Today is, hey guys, I got to do some bed and breakfast stuff. Can you wait for me for a moment? I'll be back in 5 minutes. No. Did you hear her? She said 6 minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, we've got 2 minutes.
So back to the battery thing, just quickly, Cheryl. I just feel like I am the one that's in charge, not them.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't like them saying when it's good to charge my phone.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that what was the reasoning behind doing that slow release thing? And
I think it's a control thing.
No, okay. He kind of said to me that it was to preserve battery health and
Yeah, I know, but
batteries. So yeah, so
and I
just-
don't ever actually plug my phone in. I have a stand-up charger that it sits on. So,
yeah.
and it sits on it all the time. And it has a fan that comes on when it gets warm. So
Cool. Cool.
I don't know.
Keeps it
I
cool.
don't know. I
So-
just feel like I have my phone because of emergencies. So
Yeah. When are you heading to San Carlos?
I'm leaving here, I think, the 8th of October, and then I'll be in San Carlos probably the 17th.
Oh yeah, take a bit.
How about you?
We'll be there November 15th.
Judy, where are you in Colorado?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard you say you moved there in 1982, and
I've been in this house since 1982. I moved to Colorado in 72.
no, we moved to Evergreen in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Left in 1994.
Wow. Yeah, I was born in Fort Collins, so I'm actually a native, even though I didn't grow up here as a kid.
Well, it's a wonderful state.
Yes.
It sure has gotten liberal. You're liberal in recent years.
More liberal. Colorado Springs is still relatively conservative, as opposed to Denver, which is pretty liberal.
Yeah, it's all those Californians that have moved in.
I like it.
Of course.
I am a liberal, for the most part. For the most part. So yeah. So the last thing that Scott was talking about, because I had to take another call, what was he talking about?
Google Photo has.
No, I heard that one, the one before that.
Okay, he said that next Tuesday there's going to be an Apple meeting release. He's going to run it in the background during our meeting or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then there was the one where Cheryl is going to run the meeting on the 12th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he heading back south on the 12th? Or-
No, he's leaving just the day after our next meeting, but he'll be in Arizona on the 12th working. So he can start up the meeting and everything. He doesn't have to transfer it to me, but
Right. Oh, okay.
he has to come and go because he's working. Yeah, and that got us on to Omar and Kathy moved to Michigan from
Oh,
Arizona.
did they?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm surprised that, they were in Michigan for such a long time anyway before.
Oh,
And she's from Michigan.
Yeah.
I believe.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Mom's there, and her family is there,
Mm-hmm.
and she's Ukrainian, and
Right.
all on with distant family and everything. I think it's good. It's going to be great that she's right there with her mom.
And
Oh.
this, on Saturday, I was up at Bob and Kay Doyle's birthday anniversary party up in Lake George, and Mike and Heidi were there, as well as Jesus was
Oh.
there, and they all played. So that was really fun.
Cool. Bob and Kay or Bob?
Doyle. Do you know Bob and Kay Doyle from Castaway Kids? Yes.
Well, from Castaway Kids, but we also see them all the time at Mark's show.
Right.
Yeah, Kay.
Bob and Kay are my neighbors in Loma Del Mar,
Yeah.
but they're from Colorado.
Oh.
And Bob and Kay both work for utilities with my husband.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I always would forget her name,
Kay.
and Mark told me that her name was what? Because I never know what her name is. Kay. So he said it's in
It is Kay.
what?
So their sons, it was their birthdays are both in August, their son's birthday. There were actually 6 people celebrating birthdays on Saturday at the party. So that was fun. Yeah.
And it looked like San Carlos didn't get too bad of hurricane. They got waves and wind and stuff. But
Yeah,
not,
I guess. I didn't hear anything about my house, which I guess is good news.
yeah,
No.
the hub. So what is that? What they called it? Hubbub?
Haboob.
Haboob. There we go. Not bub.
Haboob. That
It,
was worse than what they got from the hurricane. So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, another thing with that was going to be a technology topic I was going to bring up today. I think I told you guys once before how I believe that Facebook and Facebook Messenger, when you Facebook message or you post anything on a corporation's page, you get fast results. I have been trying to find out from the WestJet airline, which is the airline in Canada. They had a subsidiary called Swoop, which was their cheap flights, right? And they've quit doing Swoop. But I want to know if WestJet is picking up their route from Mesa Gateway to Edmonton, because that's the one we always fly home with in January, end of January, February, something. And I can't go on their website to book a flight, and there's nothing available to Mesa. It doesn't show up anywhere. So I put on one of their questions of the day on WestJet, where do you want to travel to? And I said, well, I want to travel to, but I can't find if there's any flights running. So somebody else replied in the comments, and I went to their messenger, and it's a stupid bot where you ask it a question and it's got set little answers. And, go to the booking page to book.
yeah.
Anyway, back and forth. So finally, this woman says, email westjetinquiries@gmail.com. I didn't know that email address.
Wow.
So I used last night at midnight. At 6 o'clock this morning, I get a personal email from George in customer services at WestJet to tell me that, yes, effective September, they will be flying Mesa to Alberta, and I'll be able to book those things.
Wow.
So supposedly after Friday, which is September 1st, sometime in September, I'll be able to book those things. So,
Great.
but I just think that you put something on their social media and holy gee, you get there. You phone them, you're set on hold, you get past. Like it's just been crazy.
I think that all these companies that use Facebook as their communication tool, it's a bad way to communicate.
It is, except that you can get results.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, from my point of view,
Yeah.
This sounds like an extension of my Apple talk. You guys should have brought this up while we were talking about the iPhone.
We did. Actually, we've moved on to Cheryl's topic.
What was Cheryl's topic? I missed it.
Basically, the effectiveness of getting a hold of corporations like airlines by putting a comment on their social media platform. So
I'm sure feeling like that whole sentiment is getting disrupted right now because of what Elon has done with Twitter. I really feel like it was so much more effective a few years ago when you'd put a comment out there on Twitter or Facebook, you'd get instant reactions because these organizations were concerned they would look bad in the eye of the public. And now I don't feel like I get that kind of satisfaction. I get a lot of apathy from organizations, and they're like, "Oh yeah, go look at our help page or go," but I don't feel like we get the same instant action we used to get.
No, I feel that Facebook is still working for that. I don't know Twitter, so I'm not a tweetie, whatever.
Well, the extent of my experience on Facebook is with the water company, and it used to be very effective, and now it's not so much. Like I've had pictures of water shooting out of the street, right? Just video of water shooting out of the street, and that would sit for 2 or 3 weeks before they were finally out there fixing it. Whereas a few years ago, they would be out there that day.
Yeah.
Naming and shaming was a very effective thing, maybe before the Trump presidency. Well, obviously I'm back, and this call ends in 11 minutes.
Oh,
I apologize for that. For some reason, my timing was off. I was expecting them in an hour, not right now. But these are folks that have helped us with the bed and breakfast. One that's helped us for years. The other has been helping us all this summer. And we've got projects for shutting down and turning over into rentals. And so these two have come to help us with those projects. Have we got any other, have we lost people, or is it still just us? Was it just the five of us all along?
yeah, just Judy, Chester, and us. Yeah.
All right. Well, other than the Google Photos, as I was mentioning, having these new features available to you in a web browser, which is kind of cool because people have become reliant on these features in the phone, and now you can go to photos.google.com and go into your account, and you can do these same edits from there. The only other topic I've brought with me, no, that is the only other. I'm out of topics, damn it. That was my last topic.
Well, that kind of coincides. We're out of time.
Well, we are running out of our first hour. Do we feel like we need to go on to another meeting, or should we call this to an end?
I just have a quick recommendation. I just started watching on Netflix. Who is Aaron Carter?
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. And then I also started watching Traitors. It's a World War II spy kind of movie.
Hey, is Aaron Carter, that's a movie, right?
No,
Nope.
it's a series.
Oh, it's a series? I think
I
my
call it
folks
a
were
mini
watching it last night.
Oh, because I don't know if it's coming back or if it's going to go on or whatever, but I binged it in a night.
Yeah. I'm about halfway through, so.
Yeah, no, it was, I thought, what the heck is going on here? And then,
Don't tell me because I don't know.
It's got some twists and turns you don't expect. And it was a fun one. Very, action. So it's got things for action guys and people that love all that. But I went to the Barbie movie.
Oh, all right.
Did you like it?
I loved it. It was awesome. Now Bill hasn't seen it. He figures he's going to stream it someday, so I'm not allowed to do too much. But I laughed out loud so many times, and all the different little references. It is really quite a movie, a social statement about society, about men, women, equality versus who's going to be superior over the other. And it was a lot of fun. I wore pink. I didn't paint my nails or wear high heels, but I did.
That's a very good question. I have not found it. Me neither. I know, I can't find it anywhere. It was here at the beginning of the season, and I haven't seen it since. Oh, you can check anything. Yeah, anything.
Wait a minute, Judy. So Aaron Campbell, and the other one you said is called Traitors, like
Traitors, Traitors. It's a World War II spy kind of movie.
Traitors. That's a movie.
No, it's a series. Sorry, I said a movie.
Okay.
It's a series.
Yeah.
I don't watch movies very often. I can't stay interested that long to watch a movie. So.
Well, we watched a short one the other night. I might have to have Bill remind me what it was called. Oh, To Catch a Killer. Yeah, it was a guy that opened fire on a New Year's Eve, a mass shooting, and the investigation into it. FBI.
That's To Catch a Killer.
Yeah, I think it was called To Catch a Killer.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's one of their new releases on Netflix. And then I've been watching Glamorous, which is a Netflix series. Which I don't know. It's all about a beauty industry, transgender, and drag queens and different things, and I can't decide if I like it or I don't, and I can't watch any more than like one short episode a night because it's just a little It's a little over the top. So
It'll be interesting to see what we're watching over the next year with this writer's strike continuing to progress.
yeah.
Justin and I were talking about the different cultured shows that we've gotten into. Like we're really into Australian, British, Korean. Haven't been able to get into any India stuff. The Bollywood kind of films just
Yeah.
have not appealed to me whatsoever.
I keep seeing all of these Japanese type things, and sometimes the lip syncing and all that kind of stuff gets to me because I don't know, Scott, you mentioned one time about TV and movies have to keep our attention because they know we're looking at our iPads or we're doing something else at the same time. I didn't
Yeah.
used to do that. I used to watch. If I was watching a movie, if I was watching a Netflix, I would watch it. But I'm finding that I have to do something else because they're slow moving. I can't.
Well,
the audio-
there's a number of them that have been produced that way specifically so that you can surf your websites while you're watching the show.
You can listen and you don't have to look at the screen because the cinematography isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting frustrating, but that's okay. I should just go and read my books anyways. But we did start the new Star Wars one, Scott. I thought you talked
the
about.
Ahsoka. Yeah.
Say her
What'd you-
name.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
AHSOKA. Ahsoka.
I thought in it. Ahsoka or
No.
Ahsoka. No, Ahsoka.
No.
Okay. Anyways, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. It's tough. You know, I've been kind of judgmental about it. It is, for normal people, nothing. They have any idea what's going on. Ahsoka is a character that is loved within Star Wars fandom. And if you're not a Star Wars fanatic, you have no idea who this person is. Like, you know who C-3PO is, and you know who R2-D2 is, regardless of whether you're a fan like your husband is. But nobody knows who Ahsoka is unless you're a Star Wars fanatic. And she came about in an animated show called The Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And so they did 7 years of Clone Wars, and we watched this character develop from a 14-year-old to a 21-year-old and actually reject Jedi practices to go out on her own right at the time that all that conflict about the Jedi Order, whether they should be involved in politics. I mean, just deep in that stuff of the reason the Jedi Order failed. And so she was part of that. And then we saw her in The Mandalorian. They brought her in to bring Baby Yoda to Luke Skywalker. So there's like all this stuff that nobody knows. And this show is trying to fill in this gap between where this show's starting out and where these previous shows ended. Because Clone Wars ran into Rebels, I mean, there's this huge story arc of this woman's life. And there's this blank spot between what all the Star Wars fanatics know and what everybody's learning right now in this live action show. There's a blank spot, and they're using that as the background for this show. It's a weird way to do it. I loved how it started. The first 15 minutes were amazing. And I like that it's a female-driven cast, because that's kind of how Star Wars has gotten in this show Rebels, is there's a number of very powerful female characters. And so these are all characters that we've seen before working together again. It's almost like a fifth season of Rebels, which is another animated show that no normal person has spent any time watching.
The other one that we're watching, and it comes out on Tuesday nights, the same night as Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah, just treat it as a Spanish H.
Ahsoka. Okay.
Yeah.
And is Murders in the Building. And
the third season.
it's
Less
still.
than a minute.
We're under a minute. We're gonna log out.
All right. I'll see you guys next week. You might notice that I've not gotten a chance to talk about these very silly 3 sci-fi movies. Well, one's a movie and 2 TV shows. One's not silly. Invasion has just started, the new season of Apple's Invasion. Can't wait to get started in that. Haven't started it yet, but I love the way the first season ended. And Twisted Metal's based on a video game. It's got Andrew Mackie in it. And it is very funny and very violent. And The Hunt is the same way. See you guys. That was the San Carlos Computer Club. We are done. I'm not starting up another meeting because we had pretty much said everything we wanted to say. So this is Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions, saying that if you need solutions out there anywhere on the internet, get a hold of me, Scott at internationalcs.net. And if you've enjoyed these meetings that we do and you want to see more stuff about us, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on WordPress. Go check out scclub.org for more information. Until next Tuesday, everyone, tech on.